Story 1. TLDR, wife only kissed an ex-boyfriend. Is anything trustworthy about her anymore? My wife of 13 years went on a weekend road trip to another city. Staying indoors for the length of the pandemic has been hard on our family. We have a 6-year-old. We went to a log cabin in February, but given my work commitments I decided not to book another trip so soon, so she wanted to go get out of the house by herself. On the agenda for her trip, she planned to meet a friend, who she dated in high school, but I thought nothing of this because I came to know him too, did not think they had anything going on anymore. We have met this person at social events a handful of times during our marriage. When she came back, she acted strangely. She was very uncomfortable with my physical touch. Later that night, she told me that she kissed someone in this other city. I asked if it was the ex-BF and she said yes. This was devastating for me because it broke the trust in our relationship. The next day she told me that I need to accept we are getting a divorce. She went completely cold. She told me things like the last time we had sex I felt nothing. She said her feelings for me were fading for a long time, but on her road trip she had an epiphany and they are completely gone. She even went on a long diatribe of all the personality quirks she detests of me. What I'm so shocked by is how a person's personality could abruptly change from love to extreme anger and loathe. Just weeks earlier she would make nice compliments about how easy I am. Untrustworthiness is the exact opposite of what I thought of her before this. Since coming back from that trip a little over a week ago her mood has improved to be polite. But she has pushed away all attempts at physical touch except for an occasional hug. This is weird since before the trip we often hugged and kissed each other. The story of what this kiss was changed several times. She said that it was brief and she stopped because she felt it was a mistake. In one version of the story it was at the beginning of the trip when they first met at a coffee shop. She said she was just so excited to see someone after being so isolated in the pandemic that she got wrapped up in the moment. Thoughtful face, that doesn't make sense to me because neither of them are fully vaccinated and she spent the whole last year being afraid of getting near anyone or even using a public restroom. In another version of the story the kiss was at the end of the trip before she left. Even before the pandemic, she struggled to be happy in our marriage. Certain negative events with our careers, money, and family health have been stressors. I could tell she's been depressed. I've had trouble giving her the intimacy she needs because I am struggling with extreme stress myself. What do you think is going on here? I'm trying to make sense of what she might be thinking. I am now doubting a lot of things I thought I knew about her and what we had together. We will get divorced, but if she ever wants to have an intimate relationship with me again, what is likely to be her motivation and how might that play out if I accept her into my life again? Grown-ups don't just kiss. Exactly, and she wouldn't push for a divorce because she kissed someone. They ducked again and she missed it, a lot. Are you sure it wasn't the epiphany while driving in the car that she decided to make a radically life-altering choice? No, they did the deed, that's why she wants a divorce. Do you share a phone plan? If you do, I bet if you retrieve the call/text logs you will see a clearer picture of what was really going on. Sorry this has happened to you. Yes. It's this guy. They had says. This is not an isolated incident. There is an epidemic of women reconnecting with ex-boyfriends. You need to hit her hard with divorce. She may be happy at first, but that is usually when they snap out of the fog. It is all about this guy and not about any drive. It feels like you've walked in halfway through the story. She went on this road trip with the express purpose of meeting the ex-BF. You know this because she had planned and arranged to do it. This means that she had to be communicating with him beforehand, and what you don't know is how long for or what the content of those communications was. You mentioned that she struggled to be happy due to stressors. It is a strong possibility that she was like this because she had an EA, possibly PA, on the side, so was seeking comfort elsewhere rather than engaging with you. It's also a possibility that she has been carrying a torch for this ex-BF for the whole of your marriage. In my opinion, when she said she kissed him at the start of the trip and at the end are both true. The bit she left out is what happened in between. This also tells you that she spent the whole of the trip with him. Everything you have said in this post suggests that she never got over this ex and he has been in the background for your whole marriage, at least as a fantasy, with occasional in-person top-ups and now a blatant cheat. This isn't the first time she's cheated with him. It's just the first time you caught her. I know he just re-entered the picture recently because for most of our marriage he lived states away and it was physically impossible. The only reason I am reasonably certain she didn't cheat in other circumstances is that she is a very introverted, isolated person and there weren't many opportunities where she would have had significant time away during the marriage. I knew something was not right when after she got me back she showed me a few pictures of bars where she said we were at, and I was like, who were you with? She told me it was this guy. And I said she told me before she was just going to meet him for a cup of coffee. She's never done anything like this before. I had no idea she would outright lie and break our trust in this way. You mentioned that she struggled to be happy due to stressors. It is a strong possibility that she was like this because she had an EA, possibly PA, on the side, so was seeking comfort elsewhere rather than engaging with you. She tried to engage me a lot actually. I feel terrible in that, especially over the last year, I found it difficult to be private with her back. Something hasn't felt right about our situation for a very long time and that got in the way of me being comfortable with her for affection. I also think she is naturally a very depressed person. She's had many complaints about what she's not getting out of our relationship, so much so that even with me doing the best I can to meet her expectations I felt very burned out. But looking back, I don't think there's any amount of work I could have done to satisfy her craving for novelty and adventure, which I think she seeks to numb depression that's really caused by a lack of personal long-term goals. Bingo! You've just described a narcissist, or at the very least someone with narcissistic tendencies. Narcissists are very insecure people who present a mask to the world as a cover for their fragile egos. You may not even have known who your wife really was. She may have been presenting a front the entire marriage. Just because your wife is an introvert, it doesn't mean she can't be a narcissist. Not all narcissists appear arrogant and boastful. She may be what is called a stealth or covert narcissist. Narcissists are constantly looking for validation, or their supply, the next novel, bright shiny thing. You were her supply for a while, then probably your child for a while. Your wife has moved on to her new supply, the X/AP. Narcissists typically idealize, X/AP, devalue, you and the marriage. Didn't she have a list of things you did that bothered her? And discard. You have been discarded for the next bright, shiny thing, her new supply. None of this is your fault. She will try to blame, shift and gaslight, so be strong, especially for your child. Consult with a lawyer ASAP. You may want to start therapy to help you deal with the emotional turmoil that is about to happen. Good luck! I never thought she could be a narcissist because she used to be so sweet to me by showering me with compliments at times and doing small endearing acts like massaging the top of my head. What's so mysterious to me about this whole thing is that she was able to do that before the trip but then just turned it all off when she returned. I just watched a video about narcissistic mistreatment. What she did might be called love bombing. The weirdness of what occurred makes sense now under this theory. Thank you for suggesting this idea. Yeah, that's why it's called covert or stealth narcissism, much harder to detect. True, she may have been love bombing you, or her change in behavior could be due to the fog. Her fantasy life with AP has become her reality. You are the enemy now. The obstacle to her idealized life, her fantasy, her happily ever after. She didn't just kiss him. No one leaves their spouse over a simple kiss. She's minimizing to try to control the narrative and possibly assuage any guilt she may have. Check out this article, The 4 M's of Infidelity, Why Cheaters Can't Leave Their Affair Partners online. I'm sure it will ring more than a few bells for you. The important thing now is to consult with a lawyer and learn what your options are. Act quickly while she is still in the affair fog so that you can negotiate a favorable outcome. The most important people in this equation are you and your child, period. Also remember, your wife's affair is not your fault. It was a conscious choice on her part, not a mistake. Good luck to you. Thanks for the article. This is sad and probably means she's gone from my life for good. She claims it wasn't the kiss that changed her. She had time to clearly think while driving in the car and contemplated this conclusions to divorce. The abruptness of how this came on and the changes. I can't fathom that a well-grounded person would behave this way. Something is clearly wrong with her mind right now. She had time to clearly think while driving in the car and contemplated this conclusions to divorce. That might be true but is only half of the whole truth. She set herself up to meet her ex. Planned this whole trip just to meet him and to cheat on you. Kissed him when they met and surely did more. She planned to cheat on you before she had her so-called epiphany. On the drive back from her cheating trip she realized how much she enjoyed all that and probably already began to miss her ex. That is when she made the decision to divorce. Of course she tells you a soft version of that all, afraid that she gets labeled as a cheater and probably thinks that when she tells you that it was only a kiss, that it wasn't real cheating. She is afraid of how others will look at her when you tell them that she cheated on you. Especially when your kid finds out why you divorce. So she sells you a story about her epiphany and that even if her ex would still live states away, that she would want the divorce. Thing is, that is a lie. The trip was planned to cheat on you and she did exactly that. Or do you think that she would have returned as a different person if she wouldn't have met with that guy? The decision might have been done while she was driving, but it was not because she had an epiphany, it is because of what she did with the guy. This is spot on. We all know for sure that what they did was more than kissing and she did not tell you the full truth. I agree with some of the commenters to never do the pick-me-up dance. Have some self-respect. It's sad to know that your wife doesn't care about you and only cares for herself. I hope you'll file for divorce fast. Leave her and move on. Worldwide comments of the day: it's none of your business who he dates. You don't own him. How it will work with the kids is just your excuse. Story 1, not your problem who your ex dates. Last I checked, he's single. If he wants to be with your man's ex, more power to him. Story 2, do the man a favor and get a DNA test. If he's not the dad, have him move on. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and relatable Reddit videos.